Hi Chris, how are you?
Good afternoon, Rod. Yeah, all is well. Here we are, episode 206. It's the 4th of January, so here we are in the new year. Happy New Year to you. And it's a beautiful wintry day here. We've got sun, it's crisp, it's a little cold, it's been -2. But actually really, really pleasant in the middle of the day, but very cold at night.
Yeah, it's definitely taken a turn for the colder, hasn't it? Have you had any snow?
No snow, but just incredibly cold. And I think we're going to go down to -5 Monday, Tuesday. So it's going to get colder. Luckily, we got a wood burner, so we're going to be making the most of that.
Yeah, that's parky. I will say, unusually for Swansea, we've actually had a light dusting of snow to the extent that when I looked in the marina this morning, I could see little patches of ice floating in the salt water of the marina.
Ooh, now that's cool. My kids would love a little bit of snow, especially about Tuesday when they go back to school.
Oh, Tuesday they're going back. That's quite nice. No, I think most schools in this region are going back on the Monday, and certainly I'm back to work on Monday, and I would expect all of our students to be back.
Yeah, well, I've already been back. I haven't really been off, so yeah, I will be working tomorrow morning too.
Perfect. Should we do some follow-up?
Let's get into the follow-up.
Let's do some follow-up.
So first up, then we've got Apple escalates its appeal of a £2 billion fine from the UK antitrust lawsuit. Now, this is not a shock, obviously. Apple have been hit with a big fine. We've reported on that. And Apple are obviously appealing it. Now, this is because the Competition Appeal Tribunal, which is where the case has been escalated to, have fined Apple £1.5 billion, $2 billion, because they think that they've how did they word it? They've used their position to exploit users, basically, and therefore they should be paying refunds. But Apple are pushing back, obviously, on paying it because, obviously, $2 billion is a huge amount of money, even for Apple. So it's going to be interesting to see where this one ends up. And I fear that we're going to have another year of legal stuff because there's just so much going on, and this is just the start.
I mean, it's not a surprise to anyone, but it feels like this year is beginning like the last one ended, with Apple just pushing back on everything as hard as they possibly can.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it's going to be. But how are they going to divvy up this money, though? Like, so assuming they do have to pay it, it's going to be given to UK App Store users, which is you and I, from 2015 to 2024, because I don't know why they've ruled out the first 5 years of the App Store, or maybe more than that. But so it's a huge period. So it's a 9-year period. That's a lot of money. And I don't know about you, but more recently, we're probably buying less apps than we ever were because it's oversaturated now. I'm curious to see how this is going to go.
And we've moved to subscriptions, haven't we? So divvying that. So what they'll do is they'll say this, I don't know, 12 million users of the App Store, X number of developers. Developers might get a little bit more than the average consumer, and we'll probably all end up with about 34p each.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I would expect to happen. But obviously, when you add up all those 34p's, it gets to a big number for Apple.
Well, it's a big number for Apple, and it's only right that it should be, that if they have been found to breach UK law, then they should be fined appropriately to do so, or putting that they're in a dominant position in the market, which is what most of these cases are about. Let's face it. So, I mean, I don't have a lot of sympathy for Apple here. We talk about this week after week about not the abuses, but the liberties they take. It's not an abuse until they've been sentenced, effectively, but the liberties they take with the app stores around the world and the pushbacks we see from around the world. It's not surprising this stuff is happening to them.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was just thinking, though, if they do have to pay this fine, will other countries follow suit and start, taking Apple to court over abusing their position of being the platform owner?
Yeah, I guess we'll find out, won't we? I mean, as more and more app marketplaces become the norm, maybe Brazil, the EU, other countries, although South America and United States companies at the moment could be in a particularly interesting situation considering what's going on in Venezuela.
Quite.
It's interesting times. We have got a little story on that shortly, actually. But yeah, no, I think, as always, we take a watching brief of all these fines and ongoing legal actions against Apple across the world. But in common with the rest of the podcast, well, at least we're not just dominant on Apple anymore. We look at what's happening with Microsoft and Google and all the rest of it, and I think we're sort of appealing to a broader tech audience than we did when this podcast started.
100%. I think, yeah, we've changed a lot in the last 3 to 4 years. 3 years? 4 years. I can't remember. I think this is our 4th year, isn't it?
This is our 4th year. Yeah, absolutely. It's about this time we started, wasn't it? It was the New Year resolution for both of us to do a year of podcasting. Look at us now!
Yeah, and we're still going strong.
And I should have said at the top of the show, if there's any technical issues you've noticed over the last few podcasts, Chris and I are facing, I wouldn't call it insurmountable because we're still getting podcast out, but we're certainly having some technical challenges. So it can affect us, folks. It doesn't matter how good you think you are with technology, it's going to come back and bite you at some point.
Yeah, it does seem it's way more complicated than I thought it would be to record a podcast, I think.
Yeah, maybe we need to go back to basics. I'll just have to come and visit you once a week. I'll come at you once a week, you come at me once a week, and we'll just do it in person.
Sounds good to me. I like Swansea.
Let's move on and talk about our next story. This is follow-up just because we've been speaking about browsers a lot recently, and there's been a lot of pushback against Firefox. I think we may have some more shortly, actually, in the follow-up section. But do you remember? You probably don't because you were never much of a terminal guy, but there was and is a terminal-based browser or a console-based browser called Lynx, which would do the basics of being able to surf the net from your terminal. Well, there's an even better one now, according to the register. It's called Sixel. Which I think is an amazing name. But if you want an ad-free, it's called Browsel, not Sixel. It's based on that underlying Sixel technology set. But you can actually browse the internet from your terminal in Linux. And I just think stuff like this is so cool.
Yeah, I'm not a terminal guy. I'm very much a GUI person. I don't know. I don't think I'd ever use this. I don't know.
You say that, but as more and more AI is pushed into your browser, and you may not always want it, and you may not want the app tracking, you have a lot more control of things that happen inside of your terminal than you do, with whatever it is Google serve up or Firefox serve up or Microsoft serve up in the terms of what they do. So I just think things like this are interesting and worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. I do think the way I use Safari has not really changed in 20 years. I want some tabs and some bookmarks, and I want to browse the internet. And I don't want the browser to get in my way. And browsers seem to want to do the exact opposite of what I want.
Browsers are becoming more of a problem, aren't they? I think all of them
Agreed.
are challenging. On one of my Linux machines, I've downloaded and installed Vivaldi, which is a not quite open source browser, which has explicitly said they're going to leave AI out. So that's something I'll report back on maybe in a couple of weeks to how that's gone.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, I think it's worth looking at these things. Something else that's worth looking at is how sites that are loyal to Microsoft or have reported on Microsoft over the years, even their opinions are beginning to change with Windows 11. So this comes from Windows Central, who report all manner of news stories about Windows. But I thought the headline of this article was amazing. 2025 has been a disaster for Windows 11 as frustrating bugs and intrusive features continue to erode trust in Microsoft's flagship OS. Something desperately needs to change. So this was published on the 30th of December from a Windows positive site, and even they are beginning to have had enough. And I just think that's an amazing sort of revelation from these kinds of blogs.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I think I quite like Windows 11. I quite like the design of it. I like the way they're going with it. It's got its own look. They're not trying to mimic anybody. But more and more and more, like Edge is just a dumpster fire now. Like I used to really like Edge because it was clean, it was quick, it was really good, it synced. But now every time you open it, it wants you to do stuff, and it's like I just want to go and browse the internet, leave me be. And then all the M365 Copilot stuff, they're abusing their position. They're just forcing it upon you. I don't want it. It's a real shame. I think because I think there is some good stuff going on at Microsoft, and I think it's being watered down with all this. I don't know what to call it, but shoving stuff in your face that you don't want. Maybe I'll go with that.
Yeah, it fills all of a piece, doesn't it? The removal of the ability to have just an admin account because they wanted to sign on via a Microsoft-enabled account is a problem. All the marketing for Microsoft products when you sign up for the program the first time, be it Office 365, be it OneDrive, be it Xbox Live, whatever it is, there's a number of Microsoft products are pushed into your face. Then there is the continued integration of Copilot into the operating system at a very fundamental level, and that's not going through the agentic stuff that's still to come this year. And then there's the bugs as well, which this blog reports on there being more than ever. And that could be related to some of the AI first coding that we've seen. Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft this week, started blogging. And I haven't included the blog in the show notes because it's not that interesting. Basically, he's whinging about he doesn't think people should be saying AI slop when they report on AI features. The problem is it is AI slop, Satya, and that's why we report on it as such. And this, I think, is an issue for Microsoft. That certainly on my YouTube algorithm, probably because it's me, I get more and more Linux, people switching from Windows to Linux pushed to the fore. But I think it is becoming a reality, and that's something you would never have said would happen in the heyday of Windows 10, because it was by far the most popular operating system since Windows 7. This report says they haven't felt hate like it since Windows 8, and that's a hell of a thing to say.
That's quite a statement. Windows 8 was a horrific operating system, very badly executed. So that is really bad, isn't it? Like, that we're now going to that position. I'm disappointed because I actually do, as an Apple person, I actually quite like the look of Win 11, and I've just rolled it out where I work because we've got to, because it's unsupported if you don't have Windows 11, right? So it is a shame. But our operating systems trying to do too much now. They're all trying to be an operating system and have a whole suite of apps, and do all the apps need uncoupling from the OS?
I mean, frankly, I think we could have a main show about that, probably next week if you want to make a show note about it, because the difference in approach between the big vendors, Apple, Microsoft, and what you get in a Linux distribution is becoming more and more notable. And bless them, Apple aren't pushing, well, there is Apple Intelligence, but they're not sticking all the buttons in your face in the same way that Copilot does, that it's there, it appears on your taskbar, it's there in Excel, it's there on Outlook, it's everywhere. And it feels much more egregious in Windows than it does on the Mac platform, but certainly there's no sign of it at all in any Linux platforms yet. And that's interesting, but I think we should save that discussion for another day. For now, I just think it's notable that a major Windows blog is beginning to say Windows 11 is receiving hate and has got bugs and has got these issues with it.
Yeah, and Windows 10 wasn't perfect, but was very well regarded. And it does feel like Microsoft have an on and then an off OS. The Windows XP was amazing, right? Everybody used it. Then Vista was a car crash. Then there was 7, which was amazing. And then there was 8, which was a car crash. Then there was 10, which was amazing. And then there's 11, which I still like, but has got issues. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go from here.
I think it has got issues, but yeah, let's move on. Last week, we talked about the lapse in copyright for Mickey Mouse, and I thought it was interesting that The Verge reported this Wings have gone public domain 2026, including Betty Boop, Pluto, and Nancy Drew, as well as a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, there you go, more stuff in the public domain.
Which has got to be good, right? And I love Pluto, so that's cool.
That is good. Should you choose to it, there's a Public Domain Day 2026 blog that's available so you can read it all, including important movies such as the original All Quiet on the Western Front and things like that. So there's some really quite impressive stuff gone in the public domain from now on.
Yeah, that is really good, really good.
So that's cool. Something that's less cool, and I've been on this train for a while, but you have resisted me, are eSIMs.
I've been on the train for... Okay, I've been on the eSIM train. You've been not even at the platform.
No, I haven't. And when I read articles like this, it's going to make me think even less that I'm on the platform. I've forecasted that it would be problematic switching between phones, which people do. And if you break a phone, the last thing you want to do is to be stuck because your carrier can't transfer a SIM to you. Now, this is an American article in Ars Technica here, talking about somebody who reviews phones, so obviously it's more of an issue for him if he wants to swap in and out, as opposed to the average person who buys a phone, puts a SIM in it, and then forgets about it. However, the point it comes when you do need to swap your SIM into a new phone, the kind of pain that's talked about in this article, I think is going to be problematic for lots of people.
Yeah, so look, I've used eSIMs for a long time. I buy a phone every couple of years for me and the opposite couple of years for my partner, and my kids then get a hand-me-down. And we've moved eSIMs around every time we've done it, and it's been okay. It's not stellar, but it's been okay. So I'm comfortable with it, but I may well be, a red herring? I can't think what you...
Canary in a coal mine.
No, that's when you get it first, isn't it? When you get something bad first. Ours has been all right,
Okay, you're an eSIM unicorn. That's what you are.
An eSIM unicorn, maybe. Yeah, maybe it's unicorn. So I don't mind it, and it seems okay for me and my family. But I'm disappointed that it's just not. It's not a slam dunk, is it? And it should be a slam dunk. Like, you can have lots of eSIMs, and it's super clever, and they should be really easy to port. But for some reason. And I don't know if it's because the telcos are involved, but it's far too complicated sometimes.
It should be easier. You should have a management page for your own eSIM where you can authorize yourself for switching between phones and things like that.
Yeah, and there's no standard way the vendors do it. And like when I was trying to get hold of, I think it was the EE, I was trying to get hold of the eSIM. Like, why can't I just download it? Like, why is it so hard? Why did you make it hard to go and find it? It should just be in the app. I've got the app on my phone for EE and get my bills. Why can't I just have that? Click this button to provision your eSIM or however you want to call it. But they seem to have obfuscated it, hidden it, and it's the same with O2 here in the UK. They're the two really big networks here in the UK, other than Vodafone.
Yeah, they want to make it more difficult, I think. I quite like the sort of conclusion to this article by Ryan Whitman. We gave up the headphone jack, we gave up the micro SD card. Is all this worthwhile to boost battery capacity by 8%? It's a tough sell.
I'll take the 8%.
Will you, though? Do you really need it?
I only charge my phone to 80%, and it seems all right, so I probably don't need it, but I'm not a heavy phone user.
I'm just blown away by it. There we go. Should we do some news?
Let's do the news.
So, very topically, I thought this was interesting. America decided that they wanted to remove the president of Venezuela for whatever reason. They went in, they bombed some places, and they took him into custody. And it's a bit unclear who's going to be running Venezuela at this point, but I suspect it's going to be fairly American-led. I just thought it was interesting. Information is Beautiful is a website that does fascinating visualizations of things. Just off the back of that, it might be worth pointing out that Venezuela actually has 18% of the world's proven oil reserves as it stands at the moment. That's more than Saudi Arabia. That's more than Iran. It's more than Kuwait. It's more than the United Arab Emirates and Iraq. 18% of the oil reserves. The United States was sitting on 4. They've suddenly got themselves an awful lot of oil reserves.
Yeah, well, I had no idea Venezuela had all this oil.
There you go.
That's quite interesting. I would never have guessed that. You in your head, you'd have gone, well, surely Russia's up there and Saudi Arabia and Iraq. We know they've got loads of oil.
Yeah.
Kuwait, obviously. But Venezuela, wow, mind blowing on that, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. And then if you think of the other countries that the United States has been talking about fairly recently that have problems with their government, Canada is sitting on 10%. So that's more than twice what the United States has at the moment as well.
Yeah, I didn't know they had so much oil, but I guess it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I'm looking on this chart for Greenland, but I suspect it's probably fairly sizable too, although they have mineral deposits in Greenland more than anything else, don't they?
I don't know. I will take your word for it, but is that why America want to get involved with it?
I didn't say that, Chris. You said that. I'm just pointing out that this is quite an interesting chart when you start thinking about global politics and capitalism, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a cool visualization. I like it.
And we're a tech podcast. Let's come down on that. I think it is a very interesting visualization and how it breaks down between OPEC producing countries and the deals that they have and non-OPEC countries at 30.6%. So I just like Information is Beautiful. I think they do an awful lot of good work there. As somebody who tries to represent data to the general public and article reviewers and charities and things like that, these kinds of visualizations I just think are extremely powerful, and it always wants to make me do better with what I do in my day job.
Yeah, I think being able to tell a story where you can glance at it and go, okay, I understand what's going on here in a very simple diagram like this is a real skill for the people that create these. I think it's really good.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It really is. Moving on, our next story, and it's back to Firefox, I'm afraid, is that Firefox is apparently going to ship with an AI kill switch. So this came about because the new CEO of Microsoft announced that of Mozilla announced that they were going to go all in on AI features, that it was agentic stuff was going to be built directly into the browser, and there was so much pushback on the internet on that they've now had to come out and say no, there's going to be a kill switch.
That's quite interesting, but I think kill switch, in my opinion, is the best solution because for me, if I didn't want any of that stuff, can I just turn it all off, please? Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want. And you'd have a lot more faith in a browser company or an operating system manufacturer if they'd give you that, and there was evidence that it actually worked. It wasn't just a toggle to make you happy.
Yep, no, I completely agree. I think this is the right thing.
I agree. It's one of the few positive things I've seen from Firefox recently, and unfortunately they've been pushing me away from the browser, as I've reported on repeatedly, hence my talking about moving to Vivaldi or potentially evaluating Vivaldi anyway on Linux. And I do now use Safari almost exclusively on the Mac, so we'll see how that goes.
I am worried for Safari's future.
Why?
I like Safari because I'm worried Apple are going to want to put Apple intelligence all over it because everybody else is doing that. So why aren't they going to do it? And that's my concern. So who knows? We'll have to watch this space.
Yeah, I guess we will. Somebody else that really needs to watch their space is Grok. And this is quite a disturbing story, really. That a new version of Grok that dropped you were able to prompt it to produce child sexual abuse material and deepfakes and things like that by putting the prompt in. So that's really bad for a start. No AI should allow you to produce child sexual abuse material. I think that's categorical. Everybody would agree with that.
Yep. There's not even a debate. How are we even talking about this?
But the problem comes that Grok itself hasn't apologized for this. So Grok, famously, as with X, don't have spokespeople. The chat agent itself was prompted by a journalist to produce an apology. So that's not an apology. So what the hell is this? What is going on?
Are we surprised, though? Are we surprised this is happening with Grok? I'm not, sadly. But we should be surprised that A, it happened, and B, they didn't apologise for it. But we're not surprised it happened, and we're not surprised they haven't apologised for it. And stupid. It should never have happened.
It should never have happened. These tools should not be capable of producing this kind of information, of pictures. And it's child and sexual abuse material is terrible, but also a report on the BBC from earlier this week, 2 days ago, the 2nd of January, is that it's doing it to other pictures that people are just putting online. So it's not surprising that you can prompt it to produce CSAM material, that it will do it and create deepfakes of people too. This is potentially really quite damaging to society as a whole, I would say, when your chatbots are able to do this kind of thing so easily.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. This is awful, isn't it? Like, deepfakes, child pornography, stop it. Like, surely they need to just nip this in the bud, and it just shouldn't happen. Like, how is this shipped?
And I agree with you. They should nip this in the bud. It shouldn't have shipped with this. They should have immediately removed any of the features and the ability to do this kind of thing. People will be running their own LLMs that will be able to produce this kind of unacceptable material, frankly. But the big publicly accessible ones should not be able to do this easily. So some school kid sitting in school can't take a picture of their teacher and produce this kind of information there and then. Because, again, the societal impact of this kind of stuff is unacceptable.
Oh, agreed. Yeah, it's awful.
Let's talk about something nicer, shall we?
Is this nicer?
I think this is nicer.
It's definitely a better topic.
Okay, all right. So it's CES this week. Once upon a time, we'd have had hundreds of stories about monitors and all sorts of things from CES. Maybe it's early days. I just think there's two products here from this company, Clicks, that are interesting. So the first one is this power keyboard. So I'll just describe it for the listeners. It's a Qi/MagSafe compatible battery that you can slap on the back of your phone or Pixel device or any Android device that supports the Qi 2 standard or MagSafe, and actually gives you a battery boost plus a Bluetooth keyboard. So you can sort of slide your phone, you can slide the battery part of it out from under the back of your phone, and it gives you what would be like a BlackBerry keyboard. I think it's quite a cool concept.
I do agree. Sorry, I do agree with you on this one. And they did do a case before that you could buy a case for your iPhone, and it would put like a keyboard at the bottom, of the screen, so it'd make your phone longer and taller. But I do think this is cool, and I've been giving this a side eye. I think this is better than the case one because obviously this will work across multiple phones. So I quite like the appeal of it. Interesting. It's only £60 here in the UK, which feels quite reasonable for that.
Yeah, it's an interesting product. It looks quite well made. You can see, for those watching the YouTube, if we get the YouTube up this week, how the slide works. So the battery, the MagSafe component stays in place, but you can extend the keyboard down. It has 2 levels as well for bigger phones, so you can extend it down further and expose a numbers row too. So you can actually have a slightly more compact weight, and obviously it leaves more screen available for whatever's on the screen. So I agree with you. The case they released before was a good idea, but only worked if you had that exact model of phone. Whereas this is something you can move between phones. It works on Android. It works with the Vision Pro too, apparently, because it's just a Bluetooth keyboard. It's potentially quite a useful thing.
Are you going to order one?
Nope.
I'm a little tempted, I must confess.
I mean, typing on the iPhone has become so bad that there's definitely a little thing in the back of my head going, wouldn't it be nice if you had a reliable keyboard that worked every time?
I am worried, though. Those keys look tiny. They do look quite cool. Like, the design looks cool.
Yeah, it looks like a BlackBerry. Did you ever have a BlackBerry? I don't think you did.
Never.
So you could be super fast with a BlackBerry keyboard. You really could.
Yeah.
So I do think it's interesting. The second product that they announced, same company, also Clicks. And this is sort of in the vein of that, I don't want to call it digital detoxing because that sounds wrong, but that simplification of technology, not just being a complete slave to your screen all the time. And this really is a BlackBerry a BlackBerry for the future. They call it a companion to your smartphone, which I think is interesting. So it's like a reduced functionality, basically just a messaging device. You can get your email, you can get WhatsApp, you can get those kinds of messages on here on a high resolution screen that's missing a few bits and pieces. The sort of innovation about it is it has a notification light on the side here. So if you're going out and you're worried about your messages, you can configure this notification button light on the right hand side of the device to glow with green if it's a WhatsApp message, or you're only allowing priority messages from your partner or something through. It's quite a novel concept, really.
It does, though. It is a good concept. It does look kind of cool, but you could draw a line from the BlackBerry to this. This is where BlackBerry should have got to, but for a million different reasons didn't get there. It does look kind of cool. I quite like the idea of a minimal phone, but I'm doing it anyway, just on my iPhone. I'm making my iPhone more minimal by having less apps on it and just the way I've set it up. So I like the concept of it, but for me, I think the problem with a lot of the minimal phones is a lot of them are black and white. This isn't, tick. A lot of them have rubbish cameras. This one's okay, I think, if I remember correctly from what I read. But it's interesting they've done this, and they've obviously, like you say, looked at where BlackBerry, with the good bits of BlackBerry and the good bits of a smartphone, and done a blend. And it looks a good product. It'd be great to see what this, like a tech reviewer, like I'd love to see MKBHD get his hands on one. And what does he make of it? But fair play to Clicks, though. They started off as a company making, clicky keyboards for iPhones that needed specific cases, and then they've gone out and launched these two products. So they clearly think there's something there. It feels like they're trying to find what's the right way we want to have a keyboard on our device. So I applaud them for that.
Yeah, I think there is a market for this kind of device. It's not a cheap thing. It's $399 for this, and you're in sort of the territory of good second-hand iPhone, Android phones, fully featured devices for that. However, it's a high-quality device, it looks like. It's got a keyboard, which is fairly unique. It has that innovation-ish of the notification light on the side of it. And if you are genuinely trying to get out and reduce your screen time, because this doesn't have Mastodon, TikTok, YouTube or whatever on there, it is actually serving as just the important things I need to deal with right now, potentially, rather than everything that a smartphone gives you. However, I think most people are still just going to buy a smartphone.
I think that's the problem, especially if you're locked into an ecosystem.
Yeah. This could potentially be a way of unlocking. It was interesting going back to Android for a couple of days over Christmas. I genuinely didn't miss anything from my iPhone. Anything.
Well, okay, that's quite telling though, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. And that's quite a healthy place to be, that you feel a certain degree of independence. That, let's face it, as I was abroad, my iPhone went completely wrong with me. If I'd had to buy some super cheap POS Android thing locally just to get myself through, I'd have been able to access all the functions that I needed a smartphone to do, and that's quite a liberating feeling.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you there. That does feel like quite a liberating experience. I really struggle with Android, not because it's good or bad, just because it's different, and I just don't know where stuff is, and I spend time with it. I
get that it's unfamiliar, but in the same way I went through the Android challenge last year, maybe you need to go through one this year.
Maybe.
You don't sound convinced.
No, I do generally really love my 17 Pro. It's a great phone.
That's fair enough. Something I used to love was the Pebble smartwatch. We've talked about this a couple of times. However, what their innovation is, in the same way some of the Android Wear devices have, is they've just announced a round smartwatch. Watches should be round, I think. I mean, I've coped with an Apple Watch for a long period of time, but this is a smart device with at least a 2-week battery life that is Bluetooth, a color e-ink display where you can install any of your own watch faces on an open source operating system. This is terrific. I think this is a great looking little watch.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think it's really good design, and something like this would potentially have me wear a smartwatch again. I think it looks fantastic, and as you just highlighted, the price is $249. Like, that's a steal.
Yeah, and for having a battery life measured in the weeks, and it still has a step counter, so it's got a couple of the things that you'd expect, but fundamentally it's a means of seeing notifications and having your time on your wrist, and that's what you want.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm genuinely giving this aside. I think I loved my Pebble the first time around. It was quite liberating to go to a storefront and just be able to install any watch face that you want. And in fact, this sort of I think it's Swiss railway system look.
It is. I was in Switzerland just before Christmas. It's is it
Mondrian, something like that.
Mondrian, yeah. Clock face where you've got the red second hand with a circle at the top. It's fantastic, really clear, looks lovely.
It's a lovely clear display it's got a big OLED screen on it and that battery life, and genuinely this could be the device that pulls me away from the Apple Watch.
Really? Wow, that would be interesting because you've never really wavered on the Apple Watch.
I have occasionally, but this is seriously making me waver. How do you feel about printing, Chris?
I hate printing with a burning passion, and I wish we didn't have to have a printer, but occasionally we do need to print stuff.
Yeah, I in my current situation, I don't have a printer, and I'm not really missing it, I got to say.
It's largely for returns, if ever we have to return something. Or my partner is a teacher and she needs to print off something for the children in her class. That's the main reasons we have it. I barely touch the thing, but I hate it.
I hate it too, and my time as an IT guy didn't make me love it anymore. In fact, I think it made me hate it even more, because if it wasn't a fax machine, which were the worst things to deal with, it was a printer.
I never had to deal with a fax machine.
Yeah, I'm older than you.
Fair point.
Anyway, some crazy guys have decided that they're going to specify an open printer format, so they've come up with a bunch of off-the-shelf hardware, largely with the exception of some print nozzles from Hewlett-Packard, powered by a Raspberry Pi W that is completely open source hardware that feeds off a roll of paper, so you're not tied into any particular paper manufacturer as well, that you can construct yourself should you have the time and inclination to do so. I just think I don't think anybody's going to actually, other than crazy open source people, are going to be able to build this and make use of it. I just think it's such a cool concept to make a printer as open as this.
I think it is cool. I really like the look of it, actually. I was like, this looks great if it could just print off A4 and cull it. But equally, if I'm just printing off a label, it could just cull it. Like, wow, this looks awesome. Like, really cool.
But because it's open source, the chances are somebody will design some sort of widget you can put on the bottom that will do that for you.
Yeah, it's true. It does look really good. People should check the link out in the show notes.
Yeah, I think so. As cool tech projects go, it's rare you see something like this. It almost makes me think printers are cool, but not quite.
Yeah, agreed. Printers aren't cool.
Printers are not cool. No car corner this week. Should we skip on to media?
Let's do the media.
So, how up to date with Taskmaster are you?
I am not up to date, but I did watch the New Year's treat.
You did watch both episodes?
The first episode. Sorry, I should have carried out that statement.
So it took me by surprise that there were two, because the last few New Year's treats have only been one. So I watched the second one by mistake, because I was out for a couple of drinks the night before, and I thought, it's a repeat of last night. And they started talking about what they were doing the day before, and I was bamboozled.
Yeah, no, they said at the start of the first one, there's two episodes, I think. The first episode, I don't know if you've seen it, but I really genuinely enjoyed it. And for me, it's great because it's just the two episodes. And so that's probably something I will actually get to finish for a change.
No, it's really good. They've done such a good job. They've got a nice bunch of celebrities on to take part. Big Zoo is particularly funny, I got to say. He comes over.
He's quite a character, isn't he?
He's quite a character. And Susie Dent from Countdown as well. I had a whale of a time. I've watched both episodes now, and it's terrific.
Yeah, I thought even Sam Ryder, I don't really know Sam Ryder, but obviously he was big in Eurovision. Yep. But he came across really well, to be fair.
And Rose Ayling-Ellis as well. All of them are fantastic. Yep. And Jill Scott, the England footballer, is the last member of the crew. And as always, they just do a great job.
Yeah, no, really, they really do seem to pick the dynamic really well.
With some proper inventive tasks. And I noticed they just announced the lineup for season 21 of Taskmaster as well, and there's some good names in there too. I
probably don't know who any of them are.
You know who Joanna Page is?
Oh yeah, she's gathered Stacey.
Do you know who Armando Iannucci is?
No.
So he wrote The Thick of It and things like that.
Oh, okay.
Well-regarded comedy writer, and they've got another big Hollywood star, and I'll get his name wrong. I want to say it's Kamal Nanjiani, who's been in The Eternals, and he's in the new Fallout show. He was in, I think it's Hackers, was it? Anyway, he's a fantastic big Hollywood name.
I was waiting for you to list a show I've seen.
Yeah, I shouldn't list TV shows to you, Chris, because you don't. But The Eternals is a Marvel movie. He's been in a Marvel movie. So
Okay.
big,
Well,
big,
it
big
sounds
star.
like a good lineup, though. It sounds quite diverse as well, which is good. Like you've got comedy actors, writers, Marvel stars. Like that's
Yeah.
quite cool.
And Joel Dommett and a girl who I didn't know, I'm afraid, so I apologise for that. But yeah, anyway, Taskmasters New Year treat, worth a watch. The Champion of Champions that they did just before Christmas was also excellent. It's been good year for Taskmaster.
Yeah, they're on a roll.
They are indeed on a roll. Did you watch The Night Manager?
I've seen the first season and I absolutely loved it. I've read the book. Really, really enjoyed the first season. Probably seen it a couple of times. I didn't realise the second season was out until I looked at our show notes. So it shows how behind I am with TV at the moment.
So the only reason I knew about this is because you mentioned it in a show about 3 months ago. You said season 2 was coming and you put the trailer in.
Yep. And I was really looking forward to it. I just didn't realise it was coming out so soon. I thought it was more like, I don't know why in my head it was like March or April.
Do you want my review or do you want to find out for yourself?
No, do it.
It's all right.
I'm already really sceptical because what they've done is the first season, which should have only been one season, is based on a book. It's a really good book, written by John le Carre. And so I was like, well, they've now invented a whole second season. Is it going to be as good? Like, there is no, like, this is a world that doesn't carry on kind of thing in John le Carre's world. And I kind of expect it. I expect I'm not going to enjoy it.
It's all right. Glowing review.
But the first one was so good. And that is the problem when you really hit it out of the park. Are you just making the money grab? Or you can make something really compelling, and it feels like they've gone for the money grab.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I managed to take in a couple of films over the festive season. So one that surprised me, it was actually recommended by Jason Snell on The Upgrade. Their review of the year is one of the things that is worth a watch. So I went and sought it out, and it's called My Old Ass. I don't think I need to bleep that from the title in the edit. It features Aubrey Plaza, and I've forgotten the other actress's name. That's terrible. Bear with me just a second. Maisie Stella. It's set in Canada, and the thing is, she's just about to have a birthday. She's just about to move off to university in Toronto. Her and her friends go out on the lake for the last time. They take more drugs than are probably healthy, and she gets in touch with herself just as she's about to turn 40. And Aubrey Plaza is playing the older version of the character. It's just a nice, quirky, I'd almost call it like a rom-com sort of thing. It's just, I don't know, it's like Arrival, but a lot gentler. It's not bad.
Yeah, okay. I did listen to The Upgrade where this was recommended. Maybe I need to watch this, but I feel like I'm so far behind with everything.
I will say it's beautiful. I don't know where in Canada they filmed it on the lakes there, but it's absolutely gorgeous setting, and it looks $1 million.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Maybe I'll give it a go and look. The reviews are really stellar on it. 90% for the reviewers and 89% for the watchers, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, so that was My Old Ass. And then I also managed to watch on BBC Two, I think it was 2 days ago, Lawrence of Arabia, which I'd never seen before. Have you seen Lawrence of Arabia?
Never seen it.
Never seen it. Oh, not just me.
Which has got to be a surprise for you. There's something I haven't seen that you have.
Well, considering this was made in 1960-something, 1962, it's taken me a few years to get around to it.
I think the problem I have is, if you look at the runtime is 3 hours and 42 minutes. That's a long time. And this is back in the day when credits were probably a lot shorter at the end. Like now when you go to watch a film, you know about 10 minutes are going to be credits at the end. But that's a long film, is it not?
It was a long film. However, it's one of cinema's epics, and it is genuinely epic watching it. I grew up in Saudi Arabia. I have opinions about, I know what the country looks like when you're there, and, I have an experience of the culture. So and it's set just after, during the First World War, actually. And T.E. Lawrence, who was born in Wales but actually grew up in England, is a famous character for helping bring the Bedouin tribes together to fight the Turks, and that's sort of the background as a front of the First World War. And it touches on some of the sort of politics about what Britain and America wanted to do with it and all the rest of it. And it's based on a true story. I'm sure it's dramatized. It does look incredible. And Peter O'Toole it says introducing Peter O'Toole at the start of it, so I think it was his first film. He just looks amazing in an amazing looking film. To a modern sensibility, it needs an edit. 3 hours 42 minutes is a long time for people to sit in a cinema. I think it came with an intermission when it was originally released.
Yeah, I mean, that's a long time, isn't it? And that just puts me, and that's why I don't watch a lot of TV seasons, because it just puts me off, because it's just too long from the outset.
But I think this is one of those films, if you call yourself a fan of cinema, you need to have watched. In the same way you need to have watched Citizen Kane and Casablanca. And this is an epic of modern cinema that is worth your time. And yes, it's quite an investment. And like I say, it needs an edit. But it has scope, it has scale, it's well filmed, it's thoughtful, it's got extras. Yet again, with a modern sensibility, there's some words in there, and actually the BBC said, this was made in 1962. The way they refer to people is not how we do it these days. But it's definitely worth an investment in your time to have watched it, I think.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't disagree. There's a lot of classic films that I feel I should watch because I just love films and I would like to know a bit more of the history.
Yeah, and you see it like Prometheus, I think. There were direct references to Lawrence of Arabia from the android character within that, to the way Peter O'Toole looked in this film. Some of the casting of the Arab characters particularly it was a bit questionable. Alec Guinness, who I wasn't expected, popped up as Prince Faisal, and Anthony Quinn as one of the sort of rival Bedouin tribes leaders. Omar Sharif, I think, was the only actual person of Arab descent who was in a significant role within the film. So that's a bit unfortunate. But again, given the time it was filmed in, maybe not surprising.
Yeah, it's filmed so long ago, isn't it? I mean, what was it, 1962? Wow, that's a good 20 years before I was born.
Yeah, it's quite a thing, but I think genuinely seek it out. It's worth a couple of hours on the sofa to give it a chance.
Yeah, no, fair enough, and it is. Yeah, I should watch it.
And last but not least, I notice you haven't added anything to our list this week, Chris.
Busy social calendar, which is a nice problem to have, I guess, but I just have not really watched any TV other than I did catch yesterday that first episode of Taskmaster.
Clearly good to have friends. I also managed to watch Adolescence, which was the big show on Netflix for 2025, and we didn't even talk about it in our ratings last week. This is quite a thing. Have you heard of Adolescence before I start talking about it?
I've heard of it, but I think it's quite sad, isn't it?
It's not sad. It's kind of a reflection on society.
Okay. So, can you give me the premise very quickly?
Without spoiling it, this could be slightly challenging, but basically, there are 4 episodes. A 13-year-old is accused of murder in the very first one, and it shows over the 4 episodes sort of the major people that are involved with that. So the first one is from the perspective of the police, largely. The second The second one from the school. The third one from a psychologist and the prison system. Or maybe I should call it pre-prison, sort of a locked-up state, let's call it. And the last one is from the parental point of view.
Wow, okay. I do quite like things where they tell it from different POVs. I think that's quite clever.
The other truly remarkable thing about it is it's all 4 of them are one-shots. So from the point the camera starts moving, I think there's only one cut in all 4 episodes, and they're all an hour long.
Wow, okay. And what's the guy called? Stephen Graham. He's done that before with a cooking film, hasn't he? I've seen that. That's quite a skill, isn't it? To do it all in one take.
It's genuinely a remarkable piece of filmmaking. It's a very well done. I don't know what's going on with that. Genuinely remarkable piece of filmmaking. Every single actor in it, particularly the 13-year-old, who I will scroll down to get the name, Owen Cooper, is just absolutely phenomenal in it. It's worth your time. It's almost worth subscribing to Netflix for a month just to watch it, because it is that good.
We do have Netflix at the moment, and we've barely used it. I got it over Christmas, and I don't know why. So maybe this will actually justify my Netflix purchase for the month.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my Safari here. It's gone completely mad.
Apple Zero to put the zoom back to normal.
It's not really working, but there we go. Like I say, technological problems, everybody. So
we are only human, Rod.
We are only human. So yeah, Adolescence, genuinely worth checking out. And had I watched this last week, it would have made my TV show of the year, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's strong. Fair enough. Okay, well, maybe I need to give that a whirly.
I think I would. Games?
Yeah, I've not played a sausage.
I've only got one. I thought it was worth mentioning. This Cyberpunk 2077 came out in 2020. It's by the same studio that did The Witcher and The Witcher 3. CD Projekt Red is their name. Terrific game. I haven't played very much of it. I've done the first 3 missions, I think. It's sort of a 3D world. You're a sort of vaguely matrixy character. You can plug into things and jack in and all that kind of stuff. It's got car driving sections. It's got combat sections. It's got role-playing game elements where you can build things up. It's really quite impressive.
Yeah, I was just looking where you're talking. I think this is now available on the Switch 2 as well as, yes, it is. And I did debate buying it for the Switch 2.
Yeah, it's probably, I think it's the last day of the Steam sale today as well. So if you want to pick it up for Mac, you could probably get it today at a reduced rate too. Well reviewed by critics now. I think it launched, as many big games do, in a fairly rough state. But given they've had 5 years to patch it and update it, it's pretty together now. It's quite an interesting game. It's quite adult in its themes and all the rest of it, but I'm going to return to it. It's impressive.
The Ultimate Edition has 42% off on Switch 2 today.
Sounds like you should be buying it.
Oh, I've got loads of games to play on it though. Yeah, okay. Would you recommend?
Based on the first 3 or 4 missions, yeah, I would. It's quite an impressive technical achievement. It'll certainly make your Switch run hot.
Will it make it work?
It's a 5-year-old game. What you got to lose? It's got 86% on Metacritic, decent reviews from users. I think it's a bit of a time sink. Are you going to put the time into it, Chris?
That's my concern. And I've already bought No Man's Sky on the Switch too.
Yeah, if you're under any doubt, don't.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at the moment because I just know I haven't got the time to give it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Main show?
Main show.
So I think it's just a sort of a, what are we expecting to see in 2026 is what we're going to discuss, yeah?
Yeah, maybe what we're looking forward to or not. Yeah, I think it'll be good. I looked at your list and I thought, fair play, you've done a really good list because I don't know of much that you haven't listed that is potentially coming out. And we said last year was a not very exciting tech year.
Yeah, we'll see if this year is any better. But so Mac Rumors have helpfully put together a list of what they're expecting to see in 2026. And I sort of looked at that and I thought there's some things in here that may or may not happen, I guess. And then a couple of other things that we may or may not expect to see. The one thing we should sort of just chuck out straight away is AI is going to continue to be a thing until the bubble bursts. So I think we're not explicitly going to discuss that. I think there'll be innovations in terms of the device that, I forget the name of Johnny Ive's new company with Sam Altman, are going to be. That is going to happen. I don't think it's going to be that interesting. It's going to be a voice-activated thing in the same way that the Humane pin was.
I think AI is going to be a bit... We had the dot-com burst, but the dot-com world carried on. The bubble burst, and it's still going on. And AI is going to be the same. I think it's here to stay. It's going to carry on, but maybe everybody will just calm down a little bit. That
would be nice, wouldn't it?
Agreed.
So let's do it for this from an Apple point of view then. So what we're expecting to see that are almost certs, and we'll talk about the things that may not be, is an iPhone 17e. So Mac Rumors say that they expect this in early 2026 and it will have a refreshed design with slimmed down bezels. That would surprise me. I think the iPhone 17e will look like the 16e, maybe just with a better processor in it.
Agreed. I really hope they do this because I think buying phones corporately has been really challenging because you always end up buying a year-old phone. I think this is a great corporate device or enterprise device, and I hope that they keep updating it annually so that actually big corporations are buying a semi-decent phone rather than buying something hamstrung and then giving it to employees. So I really hope that this phone carries on. I think the design looks fantastic, by the way, and I hope it continues.
I think the two big knocks against the 16e were no dynamic island and no MagSafe charging. And the MagSafe charging, I think, is particularly problematic on a device that you've got planned for corporate acceptance because chuck a couple of MagSafe connectors around the place and you're that's fine, people can charge them. USB-C helps obviously, but if all they did to the iPhone 16 was to do this, I think it'd be a good thing.
Yeah, no, agreed. If they did address those two shortcomings, I think the dynamic island should just be everywhere now. It would be way better if it was consistent, like not having a home button. The dynamic island should be on all devices, but I hope they do something. But I'm glad that even if they don't do anything other than just refresh the processor and release the new name one, I think that would be a positive step forwards.
I think to get on a cadence for the cheapest iPhone, in the same way that all the other iPhones are, would be a helpful thing.
Yeah, agreed.
So that seems to be more or less a cert. It's probably worth mentioning, most of the rumours are pointing towards Apple moving to a twice release schedule for iPhones rather than saving everything up to September and dropping it in one go. And maybe if they do drop a 17E here, this could be a sign where the lower cost phones, so the standard 17, the 17E, the 17 Air, if such a thing still exists in the future, drop at one level, and then the Pro phones and maybe the other phone that may appear in the lineup drop later. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. But yeah, good.
So for September, then, we've got the iPhone 18 Pro. The forecast is that they're going to look very like the 17 Pro, just maybe in some new colors. In the picture, Mac Rumors here have a purple one. That looks pretty cool. The orange one is definitely the one that stands out in the range. It's the one I've seen the most, and Chris is going to hold his up at any second now, I'm sure.
Love it.
I would say that my grey iPhone 15 Pro still looks as good as the day I bought it. So I think this is an uncomfortable design for me. I don't like this two-tone effect on the back of it. I don't like how easily scratchable these are. And in fact, when you looked at some of the videos of Apple's own MagSafe stands within the Apple stores, scratching the back of them, that's a problem. That you don't want the new design to look tatty quickly. Maybe yours doesn't, but again, maybe you're an iPhone unicorn as well.
I was just looking, and I'm caseless, and I just chuck it in my pocket. I chuck it on tables, and it's largely fine. Like I was worried I might find a massive gouge or something, but it's worn all right. I mean, obviously it's only been 3 or 4 months. I quite like the design. I wasn't sure about the two-tone thing, but I largely don't care. That's what I've learned.
So the thinking is with these that it's going to be more or less the same design. There is a chance that we'll have a hole punch camera in the screen rather than the notch. It's not the dynamic island that's on the current phone. So it'd be interesting to see if that comes along. That might be a useful innovation. This is the year that we should probably get some what used to be an S model, so some useful upgrades within the phone rather than actually changing the overall design of it. So I think if they manage to put in a faster processor, which I think is a given, and a couple of innovations like that can only be a good thing.
Yeah, and I would imagine they would put the Apple cellular modem in it, which would probably give a load more battery life.
Yeah. So the Pro will be interesting. Apparently they might drop to a new 2nm node as well, so that should give you a useful performance bump too. Apple modem, like you say, I think this could potentially be interesting, but this is where most of Apple's attention has gone over the years. And then there is the potential also, they're going to give us do you want to say the magic name of this phone?
The iPhone Fold.
Yeah, so
I reckon they're going to call it the iPhone Ultra.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't argue against you with that. So this will be a foldable smartphone, a dual-panel foldable smartphone in the vein of the original Samsung and Huawei and other manufacturers that have been doing it for a few years at this point, and the Google Pixel Fold, obviously. Yeah, I think this could be a slightly hard sell. I see more foldable phones out and about than I think you'd expect to.
Yeah, I agree. They are definitely getting more prevalent. I'm super curious to see how Apple launch it, what they've done with the OS, what they've done with the hardware. I think, we haven't had really a new form factor since we had the non-home button phone with the iPhone 10. So it's going to be super interesting to see how they release it, the pros, the cons, the cost. And am I going to want one? That's my biggest concern, I think, at the moment.
I think the cost and are you going to want one are probably fairly closely coupled there.
There's wanting one, though, and then willing to pay an extreme amount of money. Or are they going to release it like the Vision Pro? And it's like, well, actually, I did want one, but now I've seen it, I'm good.
I think it's going to be about the compromises for me. I want a bigger screen on my phone. I think you always want a bigger screen on your phone. And if Apple maintain the Samsung approach of having a workable display on the outside of the phone and then you open it up and you have like an iPad effectively version on the inside, that's pretty cool. There's still going to be a crease. There's still issues with hinges. There's potentially not going to be Face ID on this phone. It's going to be Touch ID only. That feels like a regression to me when other Android smartphones have got hole punch cameras, even on foldables, or Touch IDs built within the display, an under-screen Touch ID sensor rather than sticking it on a volume button or something like that. But as we saw with Jerry Everything's review of the Pixel Fold, where you put a bit of grit in the hinge and the whole phone destroyed itself and then went on fire, there are potential compromises with foldables that even if you spend a lot of money on them, it's not necessarily going to fix.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you there. Have you got a trackpad or something that's trying to zoom in?
Yeah, maybe I do.
For those not watching YouTube, the web page is going in and out and jittering a little bit. I'm curious to see what they do with the Fold and the story they tell. Standing here now, I'm not planning to upgrade my phone, but who knows what will happen.
We'll see. I mean, they can tell quite a compelling story when they're flogging you on the stage, can't they?
Yeah, that's true.
iPads, I think we'll get an update on the iPad. I agree with them on that. I think they'll give it a processor bump, maybe up to an A19. That would be good. That device could certainly use it. The A19 is also the chip that's rumored to be in the cheaper Mac laptop when it comes along, so I think it's going to be a fairly capable chip.
Yeah, and the base iPad's so good. The industrial design's really solid. They should just keep refreshing this thing once a year. Get on this, and Apple just needs to get to this annual cycle, even if it is just dropping in a new chip and a bit more RAM. Just get on with it.
I mean, the elephant in the room for all these devices is the price of RAM, and we talked about this in a couple of the 6 gigs in the current one. There's got to be 8 gigs in one that's compatible with Apple Intelligence. So there's something in that Apple are normally quite insulated about these things because they buy them so far in advance and lock in the prices. However, car production
and charge so much money already.
Yeah, but car production lines are being shut down due to RAM shortages at the moment. So this could be an issue for Apple going this year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. Hey?
Yeah. There's also going to be an iPad Air, which I don't think will be that interesting. It'll just get a bump in the same case. I think the iPad Air is the good default iPad for people who are really into it. Most people don't need a Pro.
As much as I love my Pro, I completely agree with you. It is far too much money for most people.
So N1 networking for that, and maybe some faster charging, and that's probably, and of course a processor upgrade. But I think that's fine for the iPad Air. The most interesting iPad, because they're not going to do a Pro this year apparently, is they're going to be the Mini though.
I'm on board with that. I like the Mini. I like the form factor. I'm curious to see if we are all getting iPhone folds. Does the Mini have a future?
Well, you could see a future where an iPad folds into like a mini-sized device. So you get an iPad Pro screen when you unfold it and a mini screen when it's folded. That'd be quite useful.
I agree with you there. So I'm curious to see what they do with this. I like the Mini as a device. I don't think I have a slot for one in my world.
I think, so the upgrades they're talking about are potentially an A20 and an OLED display. That's good. I think this device will benefit. Not putting OLED screens on things in this day and age is frankly unfathomable to me. There's such an improvement in terms of black levels and performance and battery life and all the rest of it. It's a no-brainer. Put an OLED on Mini.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think OLEDs need to be a lot more prevalent. Hopefully this is the year of OLED.
I would say sticking $100 in the price point is probably the wrong move. The Mini's already too expensive.
Yeah, I think that's where it struggles, isn't it? It's an awkward product to find where it sits in the lineup, I think.
It is. Turning to Macs, sort of the most rumored device is the low-cost MacBook, which is apparently due in early 2026. The Mac Air obviously is at $999 at the moment for a MacBook Air.
It's really good, the M4 bit hitting that price point.
Yeah, it's really good at $999, and it's all right. You've got to put more RAM in it and maybe a little more storage because you can't upgrade it. But I still think it's the default laptop most Mac users need. Very few people need a Pro of any sort. So the MacBook Air is a really compelling device. This is an interesting one. It's going to have a phone-level chip in it. It's going to be around 13 inches in size. I'm curious why. That seems like it's stepping too much in the MacBook Air's territory to me. I think they want to make it a little bit smaller than that, but fine. And apparently will be available in colours, which I think is cool.
I think it's cool. Look, if people can get a cheaper Mac, it's got to be good, isn't it? You know, the M4 Air is so good. It'd be great for them to do a cheaper one that they refresh frequently. That is more netbook-esque, I guess, in that, you know, it's cheap. It's got Wi-Fi in it. It can, you know, fire up all your web apps, which is what 90% of people want these days.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how much RAM it has and how much storage it has. And of course, then the crucial thing is this a £600 laptop, at which point it's really quite compelling? Or is this $799 and only just undercuts the M4 Air or M5 Air?
Yeah, again, it's going to be in the story of how they announce it and the compromises they made.
Yeah, so I'm quite excited about this one. I think it's a given that we'll have an M5 MacBook Air. That's got to be their main seller. It's a great laptop. We've been through all that already. I think it's going to be a good year for the MacBook Air.
As long as they maintain the price point, I think that $999 M5 would be a fantastic device. It is already a fantastic device getting the M4.
I would like them to have a bolder colour on there than Whispering Blue before they put it in the box, though.
Did somebody say cosmic orange?
You can start flashing your phone now, Chris. It's all right. So that's the Air. The MacBook Pro has obviously got to have the upgraded versions of the M5 chips. It's got to have the Ultra chip and the Pro chip in there. So I suspect we'll see that soon enough. There is a rumour this will also have, is it the mini OLED screen? I think there's meant to be a screen change to this as well.
There's also talk at some point we're going to get touch, but it doesn't feel like that's now. It feels like that's a year out kind of thing,
Yeah. So
like like an industrial design refresh.
what we want for this is a better screen, touch, and of course that cellular modem that Macs absolutely have to have any minute now, please, Apple.
I think if they did, I would be tempted. I think if it was cellular and touch and an improved, I don't know, like, and I'm just going to say improved industrial design, just an updated one, because the current one's very good, but I'm a bit bored of it now. We've had it for 4 years. I think it'd be nice to see them do something a bit different.
I'm quite happy. There's lots of ports on it. I've got MagSafe on there. I've got an SD card. Don't change it too much, Apple. It's an HDMI. Everything about the current one is so much better than what came before.
I don't disagree with that statement, but I'm curious to see where they go with it.
Yep, fair enough. We're going to get an upgraded Mac Mini, so we should get an M5 of that as well, presumably just with a Pro chip in it. You and I both have M4s now. We're very happy with them.
Yeah, I've got no desire to, as much as I'd love the latest and the greatest, no desire to change it. It's fantastic.
Yep. Mac Studio similarly will get an upgrade. That has an M4. There was no M4 Ultra chip, so hopefully we'll have M5 across the range. The M5 is already a decent upgrade in performance from the M3, M4s that came before it. So I think giving Macs and Ultras to the Mac Studio would be a solid upgrade for pros.
Yeah, I think we expected the M4 to be in everything, and they never quite got there, did they? So maybe the M5 will hit that.
Yeah, the M3 was sort of the ugly, red-headed stepchild. That's about the only acceptable thing you can say from that point of view of the lineup, wasn't it? I mean, I've got a laptop with the M3, and it's a good laptop, but it didn't last very long.
No, it didn't last very long at all. So no, it'll be hopefully the M5 will solve it all. But their chip game is so good.
Yeah, then next, your most wished for product of 2020 of the last 2 years, Chris. Apparently, an upgraded studio display.
I'm really in two minds about this because I love my studio display. I'd like a newer one. I really would like a 32-inch OLED screen with some inputs on it, and I'm really worried that Apple aren't going to give me what I want. But I love the aesthetic of it. I love using it. I love the quality of it. But I kind of want to have it. I've got a second screen here at the minute. It's a really old 4K screen. It's starting to go. It's pink around the edges, but I want to see what this looks like and compare it to the Asus ProArt one, and I will have to make a decision this year. And price is going to be a big factor, and flexibility, I think, of inputs and things.
Flexibility is the hard one for me because both the bank I'm using now, I can plug in DisplayPort, HDMI, and I can plug in USB-C. It works across all three things, and I can easily switch between them. Studio Display does not let you do that.
No, and I'm worried that the new one won't as well.
I did see that there was a 32-inch display that LG released that the thinking was this was going to be the panel for this next studio display. I think it was announced just before CES. I meant to put the link in the show notes and didn't. So the panel itself looks like it's going to be great. It's sort of 4K, not 4K, but God, what's it called? Retina compatible at that sort of resolution. But maybe that's for the Pro Display XDR. I don't know.
Yeah, I do quite fancy 6K screen. I'm starting to feel I need a bit more real estate.
Of course you do. We already talked about the OLED MacBook Pro, so we'll see if that comes along. There is potentially an upgrade to the iMac coming as well. We might get some M5s in there too. I think that's good. It feels a bit to me like the iMac remains a product in their lineup rather than a computer they're actively pushing at this point.
I still can't believe we've regressed though to that 24-inch screen. It should have been 27. If they're going to pick one screen, it should have been 27 when they launched it 4 years ago, and it should be moving to a 32 now. It's stupid.
Yeah, there is talk about something along those lines, about an M5 Max iMac. I'm less of a fan of this. There was only one Max, a Pro iMac Pro before. I had one actually in work. There was only one.
Yep. There's only one iMac Pro. I'm alright if they make a Pro iMac.
Who's it for?
Yeah, that is the problem. I think they do so many desktops now, and the desktops are such a small margin of their overall sales of Macs. Are they just trying to confuse the lineup? I don't know.
I think a Mac Mini or a Mac Studio are more than good enough for most pros. They should just make a good screen as well, which is what we've just been talking about. So I don't understand the requirement for an iMac Pro. I understand the requirement for a bigger standard iMac, but not the Pro anymore.
I think what would be good here is if they just got rid of the iMac. Sadly, I think it should just go. And just do a screen that hits a better price point that you can just slot your Mac Mini on the back of, and also it'd be good for the environment because you're not throwing out your screen when you just want to upgrade the innards. Yeah,
they should do target display mode again for iMacs, so old iMacs can become screens again, like they used to be able to do back in the day.
Yep, they were good days.
Apparently, we're also this year going to get this Home Hub early in the year. This is the Home Hub. the what do you call it? What's the speaker thing with a screen stuck on it, potentially with some sort of robot arms following you around the room. I'm not convinced this is going to be a good thing.
I'm curious to see what the story is, what they've done, what they haven't done, the cost, the compromises. That is the thing with an Apple release. I'm not that interested in it because of Siri. Like, I've got my HomePods. I love my HomePods. I love the audio quality, but it's infuriating to use it. Now, maybe this solves it because you don't need the voice as your only way of interacting with it, and maybe they should have launched this 10 years ago. But I'm curious to see what it looks like. I'm not planning to buy one, but who knows what the future holds.
Yeah, this isn't a product for me unless they've made Siri the smartest thing in the world, and it's more open that I can have whatever content I want on the screen like that rather than what Apple deem acceptable.
Yeah, agreed. So I'm curious to see what this one's going to look like. It's going to be interesting.
Apple TV, apparently we're due an upgrade. It's going to get an updated A-series chip. I got to say, I don't really see an urgent need for this. Apple TV, the hardware product, is a fairly niche thing. I love mine. I use it all the time. It's my primary method of input for my televisions. But I don't feel it's missing anything. I don't think it needs to be particularly faster.
I think that they should be revving it, though, because if somebody goes out and buys ones now that came out 3 years ago, it's a bit rubbish, isn't it? Like, why aren't they just revving it a bit more in that? Just drop the newer chips in it. Let's move on, but keep it current. So somebody's going out and buying one now isn't buying one that they could have bought in 22, because that does feel wrong to me, that you're buying something that old and much slower chip.
Yeah, I mean, the only potential thing it could have is Wi-Fi 7 in it, which Apple aren't that keen to stick in their products at the moment anyway, so that's good, I suppose, for faster home networking.
Yeah, agreed. Now I've got Wi-Fi 7. I wouldn't mind that in some of my Apple TVs, I guess. But like you say, it's not slow. But I just think they should be revving things so they're not selling something that's got 22, in parentheses next to it.
Yeah, that's fair. And then last but not least, apparently they're going to upgrade the guts of the AirTag. I got to say, AirTags haven't been much of a revelation to me. They're handy things, but they're not been world changing.
Agreed, and they've got more expensive as life's gone on.
Yeah, they have. So that's it. I mean, there's a few other bits and pieces, like there might be security cameras, and we didn't talk about Mac Pros, although we think that's a dead thing anyway. But I think that's sort of the things we're most likely to see over the next year anyway.
So largely quite iterative, but the iPhone Fold could be quite exciting. The OLED touchscreen MacBook could be quite exciting, but that may or may not come this year. So I think it's going to be an interesting year.
The other thing I'm excited about for the coming year is something we talked about a couple of months ago, and that's all the new Steam hardware.
Yeah, I'm a little curious to see this as well. Whilst I don't plan on buying anything, but I'm curious to see what they do with it. Just because I like Steam Store, I've got a lot of games on it, and I'm just curious to see what they do, because it feels like they've got quite a compelling vision of selling you games and hardware to play it the way you want to play it, whether it's in VR, whether it's with one of their controllers, whether it's on the go, whether it's with their computer box. I'm curious to see what Steam do. Out of all the gaming platforms, I know they've already announced what they're doing, but I'm not sure we're expecting anything from anybody else. So this could be the most exciting thing coming in gaming for hardware.
Yeah, there was one rumour that we might see a next-gen Xbox, but I'm not sure that's actually going to be a cert anymore, given the problems Microsoft are facing in the gaming market. So this is sort of the next best hope for gaming for lots of people.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it looks really exciting. So just as a recap, we've got the Steam Machine, which is a PC in essence that's got Steam on it, and you can put any OS on it, and they're going to sell it, and it looks cool. Again, we don't know any of the pricing on this. They've then got Steam Controller, which again looks good, and you can obviously use it with your Steam stuff and probably any device. And then you've got your Steam Frame, which looks Apple Vision Pro-esque, but done in their own way. And again, it's got some cool stuff where you can use it to stream games and off your Steam machine, and it's got controllers with it. Looks quite lightweight. It's got the battery in the back, so it balances it, in the back of the band, sorry. So I think they've got some really good stuff. The hardware looks pretty cool, actually, to be fair to them. Nice design. They've got a suite of products that look related. I do think they should have done a bit more with the Steam logo to make it a little more prevalent and start to build a bit of brand cachet. But I think it all looks cool, and I want to see where it goes.
I think if you know, you know, don't you? But yeah, I'm quite excited for these. The Steam Frame, I'm with you. I think it's the most interesting product. The fact that it can play games itself, as well as act as a wire or wireless tether to a more high-profile, high-quality game that you've got running on a Steam machine or any other computer. And that openness, with inverted commas, that you could have, I don't know, XCOM 2 from 15 years ago running on your Mac and actually be able to stream it to your frame at a decent resolution. That's quite compelling, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be super interesting to see how these products come out, and is that Steam frame going to give the Meta Quest a run for its money, because the Meta Quest has been out there on its own really in that space. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to 26. I think we've got some pretty good stuff coming.
Cool stuff coming in 26. App of the week.
Do it.
It's a website more than an app of the week. I just think it's, I like to push these things forward. This is a GitHub list of the best free and open source alternatives for, in this case, security and privacy. And there's a big long list of things that you might want to consider instead of that proprietary thing that you're already running. So let's say we look at email. It gives some options for Mailbox, Posteo, Proton Mail, Rise Up, and Tula, or for gaming, or for image editors, or for editing photos, or whatever it is. Things like this, I think, are really helpful for people that are thinking about making a change. Even if you're not changing your operating system, the chances are some of these things are available for your Mac or your Windows machine or something like that. And it's worth making a choice to not be all in. As we've said before, what's the cost of getting out? There is no cost to getting out with one of these things because it's an open source thing that's been authenticated, sort of been peer reviewed by other people who write the code for it. So it's useful to maintain lists of things like this if you want to try something different.
Yeah, I think that's quite cool, isn't it? Like, you want to go and replace your PDF editor, but you don't know where to start. This is a great place to do that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. So there you go. That's available as a link in the show notes. Thing of the week.
Cool. So thing of the week for me, I've gone for an alarm clock. It's 2026, and just before the turn of the year, I bought myself an alarm clock. I wanted to make it look nice. I wanted to get out of the habit of having my phone next to my bed, as it's been my alarm clock for the last 10 years, maybe more. And so I went and bought an alarm clock, and I unplugged my phone charger and moved it over to the other side of the room. And so I now charge my phone away from my bed, and I now have an alarm clock. And this is what I bought. It's a Braun. It's quite expensive for all it is, but it looks kind of cool. It's got a light underneath it that glows. It lights up. It's got a simple alarm. It's got a big button on it. I just quite like it. So there you go.
It's an alarm clock. It's certainly that.
My idea was I want to go to put my phone down, go to bed, read my book, and go to bed and sleep, and not just be on my phone and not look at my phone the moment I wake up. And I just pick that habit.
Fair enough. I can't knock you for that. So you can add this to your Clicks communicator when it comes out later in the year as well, and you're going to be sorted for 26.
I haven't ordered the Clicks communicator, but I may do.
I think we can call that a show, Chris.
I think so. So thanks to everybody for listening. And if you want to get in contact with us, Rod is at g5minute@mastodon.scot. He's also on Blue Skyways at g5minute.bsky.social. I'm on Mastodon where I'm at _CJP at mastodon.social. Watch on YouTube by going to our website and clicking on the link, or you can drop us an email at wakefromsleep@protonmail.com.
Talk to you next week, Chris.
Cheers, Rod.